Alright, hello. I have been focusing a lot on independent training and how we are able to make parents or legacies through independent training. We don't have the full comprehensive knowledge yet. It's only been out for a day, but we've been testing it a lot at Raycord, comparing our results, comparing the benefits of using different decks, different cards, seeing what works and seeing what doesn't. So I want to go ahead and just share as much information as I can, all the information that we've really been finding out and working on and collaborating together. So this is not a complete guide. This is an update and hopefully something to get you started on moving to making your own conclusions. As a quick warning, I do want to apologize if this video is a little bit scuffed or lacks a little bit of the usual polish that I try to add on. I am just trying to get this information out as quickly as possible. The first thing to know about independent training, it is not an ace building method. You can maybe get SS UMAs or maybe like a UG or a UG1 UMA if you're lucky, but it will not actually give you very well-balanced stats. You don't have a lot of control over the kind of output that you can get from this. And so this is mainly going to be used for parents and legacies because it is a great way to match up your G1 wins across UMAs without having to think too hard about it or to manually play it. So when we're thinking about parent training goals, what is our priority? Our priorities are, we want 600 stat minimums to increase the chances of a 2 to 3 star blue. Ideally, we would get a stat over 1100 to further increase the chances of getting a 2 to 3 star blue. We want good skill and SP availability to purchase skills. So we want to have very strong legacies to give us more white skills. We want to have cards that will give us good hints. We want to have, maybe even UMAs that have good base kits that we can buy skills on. We want to run as many G1 races as possible. This is so that we can get G1 affinity into our legacy trees and really just skyrocket our affinity. So we really want to be running like 30 races in our careers so that we can stack as much G1s as possible. This does include dirt races, and I will be putting out a guide for how to manage your pinks and legacies for creating the ultimate affinity parents as soon as I can. All of these updates have kind of, thrown me for a loop, but we're doing our best here. And then ideally the last thing is that we would love to have an SS rating to improve the quality of the white sparks. If your UMA has an SS rating or above, the chances of rolling a 2-star and 3-star white spark will increase a little bit. It doesn't increase your chances of sparking a skill at all, but it does increase your chances of making that spark better. And now here's some caveats. So, unfortunately, the bad news is that manually training Trackblazer is still the gold standard for parent farming. Auto farming, independent farming is not going to be quite as effective. However, it is a massive time and energy and effort saver, and it can really open up the doors to making good legacies for people who aren't going to sit there for 5 hours a day, churning through Trackblazer parent runs. In Trackblazer, you do get marginally more affinity from not being tied to a race schedule. Now, this is only true if you win races, and to be honest, autoplay tends to win more races if you have the correct aptitude. But Trackblazer also gives you more control over your stats, such as hitting 1100 stat and stamina. Trackblazer will also give you more available skills, so you get better rival race hints, and rival race hints are not very common in auto. So from our understanding, auto is pulling just some random skills based on what you might be getting from either rival races in Trackblazer or song hints in Grand Concert or Unity explosions in Unity. It seems to be pulling a similar number of skills from all of those benefits, which means that you are not getting the amount of rival race hints and chances and opportunities as you would if you were manually playing Trackblazer. I will say that autoing Trackblazer is not good. You don't get very many skills, your stats are much lower, and overall it's probably one of the worst scenarios to auto farm parent legacies in. So don't auto farm Trackblazer. If you really want to do a Trackblazer run for maximum affinity, for more control over stats, for more control over skills, do it manually. And again, Trackblazer, it's not quite as finicky to hit an SS rating as independent training is. So Trackblazer is still the gold standard. However, Trackblazer takes a long time and you have to be manually playing the whole time. So what can we do instead? We can independently farm in Grand Concert. Grand Concert, we have observed, rolls higher stats on average compared to Unity or Ura or Trackblazer. So I would recommend, if you are trying to hit the SS UMA for a slightly better white spark quality, we are going to be running in Grand Concert. And here's some other things that we've observed. PAL cards give you way more SP than even +2 SP cards. There's no real evidence for why this is happening, but we have observed cards such as Light Hello giving 300 SP or above, while cards such as Agnes Tachyon give maybe like 250 to 270. Higher LBs on cards usually means more output. And here's the thing that I have been discovering. Even stamina focus training stops quote-unquote clicking stamina at 5 to 550 stamina, meaning that we can actually manipulate the stamina stat by running more power cards to trick the game into building stamina past that 600 requirement if we are looking to spark blue stamina sparks. Additionally, race bonus, starting stats, and stat bonuses on cards will affect your card outputs. Auto is also very decent at getting skill hints from cards. It's actually maybe even a little bit better than manually playing at getting specific skill hints from cards. So running cards that have large skill hint pools is very helpful. And so the really interesting thing here is that because our goal is 1100 or rather 600 in stat benchmarks with an SS rating, the card tier list for autoplay is shifting a little bit. So one thing that I've noticed is that cards that overperform in speed but underperform in understats are not quite as helpful. Since we are running power cards to increase stamina past 550, a power bonus isn't quite as good because you're not often going to bridge the gap between 600 and 1100 stats in power, and so adding speed cards that have power bonuses to them kind of doesn't give you as much as adding, let's say, a speed card with an SP bonus, or like a speed card with like even a speed bonus or more race bonus or something like that. And additionally, race bonus likely is not documented in the individual card output, but it is documented in the event output. So if you are thinking that you're not getting very many returns from running a high race bonus deck, I don't actually think that that's accurate, but it is just noted in a different place in the output stats. So here's some early conclusions that we've drawn on Raycord. Strong speed cards need kind of something else to be worthwhile, whether that something else is a strong race bonus, is starting stats, or is SP bonus or something like that. This means that Kita-san Black and Samamara Zensky are not as strong in autoplay as they are in manual play. I do believe that even Sweet Tosho SR will outperform Kita-san Black in a deck that also has power cards, because you're already hitting the 600 power threshold. Kita-san Black herself is not going to push you to the 1100 power threshold, and they both get roughly similar amounts of speed, and Sweet Tosho gives you an SP bonus, without losing out on the 5% race bonus that Kita-san Black also gives you. Another thing is that Tachyon Speed is not as strong as Light Hello in terms of SP output, and so if you're looking to add a card purely for SP, Light Hello is a better card to add than Tachyon Speed. Additionally, Fukukitaru Speed massively overperforms when it comes to generating stats in the scenario. I'm not completely sure if the game just automatically assumes that she finishes all 3 events in her chain, or if, people that have been reporting Fuku Speed are getting lucky, but I'll show some comparisons here in just a few minutes, but she is overperforming compared to other cards when we're looking at raw output. I would also suggest that the Seeking the Pearl speed card performs pretty well. A lot of people in Raycord have started using that as their borrow. Seeking the Pearl speed card gets a +1 speed bonus, an SP bonus, and has a 5 race bonus, while also allowing you to get access to hints like Umastan. So a strategy that a lot of people have started using in Raycord is stacking race bonus with those high race bonus power cards in order to bump up both stamina and all stats through race bonus. This means that Marvelous Sunday, Nishino Flower, and Pasa Power are all pretty strong cards to add to your deck, as well as, I'm sure, many other power cards. We also believe that Wit cards are not as strong as they are in manual play. It seems like the energy gains from Wit cards don't really seem to be adding to higher stats overall, as in they are possibly not converting the additional energy into more clicks. This is probably because we're running like 30 races in careers where we're not meant to be running that many races, and so we're not regenerating our energy as quickly, so the game is trying to manually rest more often. So this is a little bit of evidence to my theory that the game will stop clicking stamina after 500 to 550, regardless of your style or your cards. I did a run with 3 MLB Stam cards, including MLB Super Creek, MLB Tosin Jordan, who does have a stamina bonus and a starting stamina, and MLB Meisho Dojo. I selected the stamina style, and I ran it in Unity, and I still did not hit 600 stamina. Then I ran another run in Grand Concert with 0 stamina cards. I only ran 3 power cards instead. I selected the stamina style. Granted, one of these cards was Fukukitaru, who is overperforming in all stats right now, but still, I think this is evidence that the game is not trying to click stamina after you hit about 550 stam. So the way to build stamina past that 600 threshold more reliably is to run power cards. Race bonus is a tricky thing to compare here. I do believe that race bonus does affect a lot of the ambient stats that you're getting in your event stats tab, but other factors also affect this, which makes exact comparisons between race bonus pretty tricky. I have observed that higher race bonuses does tend to get higher skill points and more overall stats in the events, but because these event stats are affected by the events that you get in game, it is a little bit tricky to actually make a direct comparison. But as usual, I do believe that more race bonus is better as long as you're not sacrificing too many other abilities of your cards for it. Now here is some comparison between speed cards. So all of the numbers listed here are from Grand Concert. Other scenarios are lower by about 20 to 30 stats. So this is kind of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about Fukukitaru massively overperforming compared to other speed cards. She is consistently getting around 100 speed, 50 to all other stats, and around 160 to 180 SP. Now other cards can definitely beat her in SP, particularly the Agnes Tachyon card, which tends to get about 100 more SP than her, but in doing so it sacrifices a lot of other stats. The Samamara Zensky and Kida-san Black cards do perform highly in power, but they sacrifice all other stats to do it, crucially meaning that they are also sacrificing stamina, which we are trying to build. Here's some additional speed cards that we've been testing. Like I was mentioning, Sweep Tojo does seem to be performing pretty close to the Kida-san Black performance. Shinko Windy, I think this is a low roll for Shinko Windy, unfortunately. I have seen Shinko Windy runs hit like 90 speed. And then I've seen a lot of the Kawakami Princess card being used because it is a 10 race bonus speed card. And so the gains that Kawakami Princess is adding to your deck would actually more likely be seen in the event tab rather than in her individual returns here. Tosin Jordan is another speed card that I am interested in seeing more data from because she does have a lot of starting stats and she has a 5% race bonus. So she does seem like she could be in a pretty good spot for free-to-play players or even players who are just looking to stack speed cards and maybe they're missing one or two of the more crucial speed cards. I do think that the game slightly weighs SSR card stats above SR card stats, but I don't think it's so much that we should be discouraged from running SR cards. It's just that because Tosin Jordan's speed card is an SSR card, she does have starting stats, she does have race bonus, it could definitely be worth slotting her in. And here's the PAL cards. So PAL cards are crazy in the performance of SP. So Light Hello is probably the best PAL card to use in these scenarios, but we have noted that the Throne card is also giving a lot of additional stats and SP. It does seem like a positive trend that the more LBs you have on your PAL card, the more SP they will give you. And I do want to note that Light Hello does not have a specific SP return in any of her events or really anything that she does. So the skill points that she's giving here has to be some kind of invisible PAL card buff rather than just the game assuming that you are using Light Hello in the way that she would normally be used. When you're using PAL cards, as far as we found, the game will do all of the dates and give you the gold skill from that PAL card every single time. Alright, and here's just a couple examples of decks plus race numbers plus styles that we have been running in Raycord. We've been experimenting with sprint style clicking power more, which leads to more stamina clicks. We've been experimenting with stamina style, clicking just enough stam. We've been experimenting with different races. I think that there is a sweet spot of races that is probably around 28 to 29. 33 seems to be a little bit too much for getting quite to that bridge to SS. But yeah, so there are these and many more examples can be found in the Parent Planning channel on Raycord. We have a specific thread for uploading all of your evidence, including cards used, stats gained, event stats gained, and races ran. So there's a lot of data being farmed right now in Raycord, and if you guys want to hop in and check it out, we are more than happy to say hi. Another thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that the autoplay does seem to work with the Umamusume natural growth rates. This means that we see Umas such as Ogre Cap getting a lot of speed, we see Umas such as Meijiro Ryan getting a lot of power. So these will affect the exact numbers that cards seem to be giving our Umamusume. So just make sure that we are also taking that into consideration when we're looking to really min-max or like optimize to the perfect threshold any specific parent Uma that we are running. As a final note, I want to thank you to the Raycord members who have shared data. I've used a lot of different screenshots in this video, and the screenshot credits are as follows: Kisuke Oboro, Buildings, Here Be Dragons, Ray, Fabulous, Ash Tree Dweller, Metaphor, NC, Fuzzlekins, Atomic Wolf, Mathram, Warrior Knight, Panday, Eve, and Slambug Gator. Thank you guys so much for helping to collect some data, and I am looking forward to continuing to do some work with you.